Scene caught on video when a man in a wheelchair is assaulted in Crown Heights. Tonight, that victim is speaking out, and News 12's Rob Flax has this exclusive story.
Yeah, shocking video showing the moment that Troy McLeod is attacked while simply taking his dogs for a walk.
Call 911! Call 911! How can you do that to a man in a wheelchair?
I was in panic and then I tried to get up, but lucky thing someone was there.
It felt like a vengeful vibe to me because for the extent of the situation, there was no need for it.
Troy McLeod says he was taking his dogs for a walk on Lincoln Place when this man, identified as Levi Kabakov, appeared agitated and told McLeod to take his dogs away from his children, something McLeod says he did, adding his dogs were muzzled and not aggressive.
My dogs did not do anything to his children, and even when he was violating me, my dogs still didn't involve themselves to hurt him.
Police say the suspect continued to act aggressively, throwing a wooden block at McLeod and striking him multiple times with a bench before pushing him out of his chair. Despite onlookers' attempts to stop him, he now faces 2 counts of second-degree assault. McLeod says the attack has left him with chronic pain in his hands, which he needs to get around.
When he hit me with a big piece of bench, I had to block it twice. So that's why my hand was in pain.
He tells us he wants Kabakov to take responsibility and for people to know it is never okay to resort to violence.
If you have a problem with anything, call someone, take a time out. But you have no right to put your hands or violate anyone for no reason.
How can you do that to a man in a wheelchair?
In Crown Heights, Rob Flax, News 12.
When I first saw this video, or rather, the clip and everything like that, of this story, it was actually on Instagram, and then I decided to go and do my due diligence and go and retrieve the actual full news clip of this story, and I say, yep, that sounds about right. The usual suspects, or as I call them, the main characters of the usual suspects society, is at it again. So you had this black man by the name of Troy McLeod, and I know y'all gonna say it in the chat. Y'all probably say, oh, he sounds like he has an accent. He definitely does. This melanated individual by the name of Troy McLeod was just doing his routine of going out and walking his dogs, just a regular day. And he's in a wheelchair. And then all of a sudden he gets aggressively approached upon by this individual wearing the sombrero, he and his friend. And he decides that not only is he going to get verbally violent with him, but he got physically violent with him. I think what got me, outside of him pushing him out of the wheelchair, which was crazy enough, because if it wasn't for me getting the news clip, I wouldn't have known about this part. Only the part about him being pushed out of the wheelchair was the guy trying to hit him with a brick and then trying to hit him with a bench, because you saw that in the clip, well, if you heard rather, that he said the reason why his hand is injured because he was blocking him from hitting him across the face. And, that could have caused the even bigger injury. And all the guy was doing was walking his dogs. And now if y'all can see on the screen in the picture, that's one of his dogs right there. He has 2 of them, but both of them have muzzles over their faces, so there's no way that they was going to attack anybody. And the guy's claim is that his dogs, he didn't want the dogs near his kids or something like that, or he was probably scared that the dog was going to attack, even though the muzzle was on the dog. And it's like, okay, if that's the case, the guy was going to continue to move, but I don't know what made him just get even more aggressive to the point where he started attacking this man in a wheelchair who can't defend him for himself if he were to have 2 working legs. So you tried to hit him with a bench, then you try to hit him with this block. Then when that didn't work, you push him out of his wheelchair with no shame, none at all. And just decided that, that he somehow was in the right. He just had every right to do this. This is what we be talking about when PC loves to come and tell us about, quote unquote, about ourselves. If this guy right here had the tool on him, if he had the power tool on him and he decided to pop off on this dude, what would those fools over there on Twitter or /X say? And I'm talking about the PC ones and the colonizing cohorts, aka the tap dancers. Because with the way they've been carrying on about Carmelo Anthony these last couple of weeks, something just tells me if this guy was to do what he did, or what he could have done if he really wanted to, or if he was in a position to do so, they would have had something to say about him and say how wrong he was. The guy's in a wheelchair. Now, this right here is a self-defense that claim that if it went the way that it could have, would have and should have worked in his favor, for the simple fact that this guy was assaulted multiple times. Once with, first off, with the words, second with the bench, third with the block, and then being pushed out of his chair altogether. If he wanted to really pop off on this dude the way that he could have, if he had something on him to pop off with, then he would have had every right to do so. But the way, again, that they've been going on and crashing out about Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf these last couple of weeks, we already know how many of them would have tried to spin this, especially in this case, because you have a black man going against that type of PC individual right there. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So, and this is also why I keep telling people, don't let them try to run that game on you when they say white people are different from those who are Jewish. Don't let them run that game on you. Because look at how this guy's acting right here. If he didn't have that on, would people really differentiate like that? No, they wouldn't. Don't let them try to run that game on you. Now, before I recorded the video, I actually came across a Instagram reel that I'm going to insert in here, because it's actually going to give a bit of an update to the story itself that the audio clip that you heard did not have.
So we do have a pretty upsetting story that came out of Crown Heights in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago, but it does have a good ending, so stick around for that. So Troy McCloyd is the man in the wheelchair, and he was just taking his dogs for a walk. Keep in mind as we go through this story that the dogs are wearing muzzles. This man, Levi Kabakov, spelled like this, literally pushed him out of his wheelchair.
Call 911. Call 911! How can you do that to a man in a wheelchair? You're not hurt. The children were fine. I saw what happened. I was standing there. Are you okay? No, you're definitely.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, this man, his dogs did not bother you. Your children are fine. He's in a wheelchair. The dogs are muzzled. The dogs are not. Look at these dogs. They're asleep on their feet.
I saw someone in the comments of one of the videos posted about this. What's the context? Context? There is no context for assaulting a disabled person. I don't give a fuck what this guy said. I don't know what he does for a living, but apparently in his spare time, he likes to assault disabled people on the street. But the cops were called and... Lol. A Crown Heights man is facing charges of second-degree assault and aggravated menacing after attacking a man in a wheelchair as he was taking his dogs for a walk on March 29th. The victim, Troy McCloud, tells News 12 that the dispute began when the 30-year-old Levi Kabakov, that's the guy, Levi Kabakov, is the one who assaults people in wheelchairs, believed that McCloud's two dogs were bothering his children, which is total bullshit, because if you'll notice in the video, the dogs are wearing muzzles. The dogs are wearing muzzles. What do you mean bothering your children? And he demanded that McCloud cross the street, which he did. Which, like, who are you to try to demand that this guy cross the street? His dogs had muzzles. They weren't a threat to your kids. And this guy's in a wheelchair. Like, you're acting like he can just casually cross the street. What do you own the fucking sidewalk? Let's go back to this photo and stay here because this is fun. If you're ever the person on the side of assaulting a disabled person, you're garbage. You're garbage. I am so glad they arrested his ass, and I hope that the victim pursues the fullest extent of charges that he is able to. Bye, bitch.
So that's the clip I wanted y'all to see, and shout out to the individual for doing their due diligence when it came to talking about this story, even though some of it was kind of like a rehash of what we already heard in the audio, but then some additional information. But the main part that I wanted to be emphasized was the fact of him being arrested. So, you know, there was no clip of him being arrested in the news clip that y'all heard at the beginning, but they found one, and it's right here. And the irony of it is, and I think y'all can pretty much spot it, is that it was a black cop that arrested him after he pushed a black man out of his wheelchair. I think that's the the full circle moment of it all is the very being that a type of person that you pushed out of the wheelchair, who wasn't able-bodied to like really defend himself against your barbaric attack, or should I say attacks, because it was more than just him pushing him out the chair, is, you know, on the flip side is a person who is also black but able-bodied to, and bigger than you for sure, to carry you out of your house in cuffs. And now he's got multiple charges attached to his name. Now, of course, you know how they work. You know, they'll come up together as a collective to find a way to quote unquote make all of this disappear. So I don't know what the outcome is going to be as it pertains to this Levi Kabakov character, but yeah, this is very interesting to say the least. If y'all live, if I have anybody who lives in the tri-state area or just lives in New York, or anywhere in Crown Heights or just New York in general, especially within the 7 boroughs, let me know if y'all heard of this story. Hopefully, you know, you've heard about it by the time I upload it, but either way, let me know what you think of this story down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.